What do you think about Boston trading for Kristaps Porzingis, and what sort of effect do you think he's going to bring to the table for Boston going into next year?
Well, Boston's now got another big three, right? As Kyle alluded to, you have Jaylen Brown because he's planning on getting extended. You have Jason Tatum, the focal point, the superstar of the team. And then now you add KP. Now, the issue, like I said just a few minutes ago, is him staying healthy. Now, to counter that, he had probably the most productive season he has had in, I don't know, almost 10 years. Well, excuse me, almost 7 years. He hasn't played this many games since 2016. He played 65. In 2016, he played 66. He scored 23 points per game. He had 8 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists per game. He shot almost 50% from the field, 49.8, so basically 50%, and 38.5% from the 3-point line. And in a lot of instances, he was carrying the load of Washington's offense because Bradley Beal was in and out of the lineup with injuries this past season. So KP was the centerpiece for the Washington offense. Now, I know what you're thinking. Washington sucked. They didn't have a lot of wins. They weren't really competing for much. But for me, as someone who has had him on their team, because he played for Dallas for a year and a half, 2 years, the issue for me was he could never stay healthy. And when he was on the floor, he wasn't necessarily given the opportunity to put out points, have those big outbursts, to actually go out there and be productive. When he was with Washington, he was getting those looks, he was getting those shot attempts, and he was healthy, and he was protecting the rim. And he finally looked like the Kristaps Porzingis of old, which was flashes we saw in New York, which is why Dallas had traded for him. If he can give us a similar season to that, maybe not 23, 25 points a game, if he can just give 20 and 10 and shoot effectively and block shots, that is an option for when Jason and Jaylen are having off nights or when one or the other is off the floor, and someone that can play the pick and roll and protect the rim. A lot of people are just sitting there saying Kristaps is glass, Kristaps is useless, this, that, and the third. But love Robert Williams. Robert Williams was hurt the last 2 to 3 years, and he is nowhere able to put up the offensive capabilities that Kristaps can. So when you really think about it, you're technically getting an upgrade. He puts more points up than Robert Williams, and last year he was available more than Robert Williams was. Limited with the injuries, the ankle, the knee, whatever the case may be. But now you're going to have two defensive-minded bigs. Grant Williams is probably on his way out. There are rumors linking him to Dallas and other teams that are interested in a sign and trade for him, so kudos to him. But Kristaps comes in. He fills in either the center or the 4. I would probably assume the center because he is 7'1", 7'2". Robert can slide to the power forward, play good defense and anchor the team, and you can have whoever it is at the 1, probably Malcolm Brogdon now, because Malcolm is forced to step into that starting role with Marcus Smart on. Now, as for the other teams, you get Tyus Jones is going to be out there in Washington. Again, Washington is just strictly looking for bad contracts and just, trying to alleviate some of the cap. Kristaps was due $33, $35 million, whatever the case may be this season. Boston inherits that, so now they're cleared of that. They're clear of Bradley's cap. Kyle Kuzma has opted out. So the books are pretty much open for Washington to inherit those bad contracts, to have a big cap space in the coming years, and to have some draft picks. Now, the only thing that is weird about this, and I say weird because it just doesn't make sense, how Boston ends up getting 2 picks and the best player in this trade doesn't add up for me. Memphis just gets Marcus Smart, who isn't due that much money. He is a incredible perimeter defender. He brings a gritty veteran leadership to a struggling young and inexperienced Memphis team. So for Memphis, it makes sense. Marcus Smart for Tyus Jones is a win all day. But for Boston to get the 2 firsts at the same time, how does that happen? I mean, this is why I always say in the NBA, they dish out picks like laundry, man. Like you get a pick, you get a pick, you get a pick. Like I'll never understand how that works. The fact that KP and 2 first-round picks go to Boston, who accumulated a litany of picks over the last almost 10 years in draft history when they traded a bunch of assets away, starting with the Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong. That was the big trade for KG and Paul Pierce going to Brooklyn. That's where all of those pick accumulations started, correct?
I believe so. I
So
can look it up.
now you get 2 more picks for the future and KP. Now, I believe this may be the last year of KP's deal, if not the second to last year. So they may be able to potentially just use this year as leverage and just let him go and kind of have cap space for the following season. I don't know what Boston's plan is. But according to reports, Brad Stevens is not done. He said that this is far from over for their offseason. So for Boston, this is a win-win. You get a consistent big. You get another scorer. You get a rim protector. You lose a perimeter defender, yes, but I trust Bradley. I trust Brad Stevens to go out there and acquire some more pieces. But hey, man, if Washington is going to be literally a garage sale, so be it. They've done a great job. They've gotten some good assets in return. I know Danilo Gallinari is unfortunately not going to be able to play for his childhood favorite team. I saw pictures, Kyle, on Twitter that, Danilo Gallinari was a Celtics fan in his younger days, tore his ACL before he was even able to step on the floor for the Celtics, so he was not able to play for them, and now he's headed off to Washington to try to revitalize something of his career. But Boston wins this hands down. I mean, Memphis got what they needed in a vet, but still, if I'm Boston, I'm going right back into this saying we have just upgraded and we have another potential to go to the finals again.